Hello, we're checking out a single-story ranch house. We are over in the Zeeland area. So a couple things going on with this house. As soon as we get over here, we can see we have perforated panels in the soffit, but they're really spaced out. So this should be about every 3 feet. What I'd really like to do is rip that out and do continuous. The way to save money here, the smart thing to do would be to do hidden vent soffit so that it matches the solid vent profile, but also gives us the ventilation of what we have. The solid panel profile. So what we would do is we would put in panels that look just like these solid panels, but they actually do have perforations in them. So this whole line down through here would all be vented. That would allow for quite a bit of airflow. One of the negatives I can see with the house is it looks like someone's been beating it up pretty good with a snow rake the last few years. You can see that all through here. It's pretty prevalent. It's missing, starting to get moss and everything built up on the shingles. So those are going to start to deteriorate pretty quickly. Somebody looks like maybe tore one off last year. Maybe they just came off. From there, we can see the gutters are really full. So maybe doing some screens would be a really good idea. Some kind of cover. Underneath, it's just felt. So we've got one layer with just standard roof felt right underneath there. So the 3-tab non-dimensional shingles are going to start to get to the end of their life, and then the water's just going to walk its way right up underneath the shingle and right through that roof felt. Most people obviously already know. Excuse me, all through here, pretty straightforward, nothing too special. Got another blow off right here with the shingle. Got a flat transition, so we'll talk to the customer what's going on here. This doesn't look all that old. Looks like a fairly decent job with the EPDM. So I mean, you can see the perimeter sealant and everything. Knew what they were doing. Outside of that, I'm not sure if these collars got replaced at one point, but they look relatively, they're in good shape. The shingles around it starting to break down a little bit. And then we had one really good one right here. You can see that nail head right there. That guy is totally popped. Nice and big, nice and open. So definitely letting some water in, unfortunately. The customer had asked about a ridge vent. Definitely on this house we would do a ridge vent. Even with a hip style vent, we would get quite a bit more venting going through the ridge right through there versus just the 3 box vents. So from a surface area standpoint, we're going to have new ridge vent cut all the way along this length. It's about 15 feet or so. We could do it over the garage as well. Wouldn't need to, but we could. From there, what that would do is create about a 4 to 6 inch channel down that 15-inch length. So again, from a math standpoint, if you think about it, these are only 6-inch diameter circles cut in, if that. So we're gonna have quite a bit more area of airflow. Down through here, around the chimney flashing, pretty standard. Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad, just getting old. It's definitely starting to break down. It needs to be reflashed soon. The mortar is in, it's to get in there. It could definitely get some work on it. Obviously we don't have a rain cap or anything like that, so find out about that venting. From there, everything else pretty straightforward. Again, the cap's starting to break down pretty well. A lot of this is just normal wear and tear that you're going to see on the shingles. That would get a new zip boot, so we want to make sure that that's got a good boot around it. We don't have to worry about disconnecting services or anything crazy. As well as some of the moss that we're starting to see, again, pretty prevalent on the roof line here. I'm sure when we look at the drone photos, we're going to see some streaking going on. It's all pretty normal stuff. The shingle, like you can see, the granules are pretty well lost. The streaking, the darkening that's happening on the back, it just speaks to the shingle starting to break down. And then again, once it has broken down and these granules are beginning to be lost, the water, that's when it starts to really worry, because the shingle becomes brittle, the nails start to work their way out. As we've saw over here, once that starts to happen, that's when the water really starts to come in through those nail holes, unfortunately. So if it hasn't happened yet, probably something that's going on that we're just not really noticing quite yet. Maybe it's just happening in the garage, not as dramatic, but so we'll talk about some different options. Overall, with the roof line, obviously it's a really straightforward roof. Don't need to do anything extravagant with the ice and water shield or anything like that. So we'll talk about some different product options. We can definitely save some cost and still get a really good quality roof here. I do think something with the gutters would be a good idea with some of the coverage and everything we have. We got to figure something out. It's either a lot of maintenance that somebody has just gotten beaten up with in the last couple of weeks, or something long term. Maybe we can put a solution in place, like I say, with the screens. Maybe we save on that and do it later on. So I'll grab a thermal shot just to kind of get an idea of what the can vents are doing there. But outside of that, like I said, we'll have some different products to talk about, but it should be a pretty straightforward installation.